Welcome to a Khan Academy tutorial on dividing polynomials by monomials with remainders. Let's go ahead and get right into it. We have a of x equals 7x to the 6 plus x cubed. You guys can see the rest. And then we have this b of x. What is it asking us to do? It's saying we have to divide a by b. So if we were to write this out as a fraction, it would be 7, whoops, wrong device. It would be 7x to the 6 plus x cubed plus 2x plus 5, all divided by x squared. Okay, now it's got all of this and it looks a little complicated. Essentially what it's saying is this: after we divide certain things out, some things, and I'll label this in red, some things are going to divide out perfectly even without a fraction. Some things are not going to divide out perfectly and it will be left in a fraction. Okay, so if we're looking at this guy right here, we can separate him into different fractions. Okay, so we can separate it into a couple. Number one, let's get some purple going. We can do 7x to the 6 over x squared. We can do x cubed over x squared. Anytime you have multiple terms in the top, okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 separated by addition or subtraction, we can split it up into multiple fractions. So we can put plus 2x over x squared, and then we can have plus 5 over x squared. Now some of these you can divide out evenly for our quotient, as it suggests here, okay, the quotient. Now which ones divide out evenly? Well, we have 7x to the 6 divided by x squared. So what happens here is we can cancel 2 of these x's with 2 of these in the top, leaving us 7x to the 4. Some people like to consider it x to the 6, and then because we're dividing, we use the quotient rule. We subtract exponents, you get x to the 4th. If you like doing it that way, that's fine. I like just canceling visually. So we have 7x to the 4th as our result. Then we have this 2 of those x's, cancel with 2 of those, leaving us just 1, or just plus x. And then this is where it gets a little tricky. Notice how we have an x here in the top, but then we have x squared in the bottom. That means 1x in the top will cancel with 1 in the bottom, but because the bottom number has a higher degree, a higher power, it's going to stay in the bottom. Okay? Now, normally you would do this and just leave it like this. Okay? If you were just to separate it out into fractions, that's how it would look. But it told us that it wants this remainder all together like that. Okay, that's what that means. The remainder, it wants it all together as 1. So if it's all together as 1, we want it with a common denominator, not like x and then x squared. We don't want that. So we're going to leave 7x to the 4th plus x by itself because that divided evenly. But the parts that are left with the fraction, okay, this guy right here, we're going to leave him all on over x squared. We're going to leave the x squared alone. So our remainder is going to look like this. X squared, okay? And then what was left in the top? What was left over? We had the 2x plus 5. So we had 2x plus 5, and we couldn't reduce that any further. So this is going to be our remainder, 2x plus 5. That's the form it wants. So the first part, the quotient, is, let's change color, is this 7x to the 4th plus x. That is our quotient right here. And then our remainder is this part right here, 2x plus 5, but just the yellow, okay? Because remember, it's showing us that r of x is the remainder. So of course we have it divided by b of x right here over b of x. But if it's just talking about the remainder, it's talking about the top part. Now, if you were on a test or quiz just to write this, you'd be set, okay? So Khan Academy is just being a little bit annoying, in my opinion, with this, but I guess it's good practice. So 7, let me write this out, 7x to the 4th. So we're in, oops, sorry. We have x and then to the 4th. What was it? Plus x. Plus x. Okay, that is our quotient. That's the part in green. Okay, now we're going to write the part in red. Okay, but just the top part, we don't need to put divided by x squared. So we're going to put 2x plus 5. 2x plus 5, and then we're set. All right, next question. Now we're just going to do this a little bit quicker now that we got the hang of it. So we're again going to go to the scratch pad. Oops. We get 5x to the ninth minus 8x to the fifth plus 4x cubed plus 8x all over x to the fourth. Some of these are going to be able to divide out, some of them won't. Okay, so let's go ahead and see which ones we can divide out. 5x, and if you want, write it out like this. Okay, once you get better with it, you can kind of do it in your head, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay, I'm changing colors here for a reason. Hopefully you'll see why. Plus 8x over x to the fourth. Okay, so the first ones right here, will in purple, we can simplify these ones. So we're going to cancel 4 of those x's with 4 of those, leaving us 5. So we have 5x to the fifth. 4 of these with 4 of those, leaving us 1 minus 8x. Okay, so that's going to be our quotient, or do we have more? Well, I kind of separated it, I kind of spoiled it. But you'll see that we have 3 x's in the top, 4 in the bottom being multiplied. The power is bigger in the bottom. That means we're going to be left with a remainder. So, I mean, technically you could cancel this to be, let me do this in yellow down here just so you know you're not doing it. You could simplify that to be 4 over x. But since we're just looking for a complete remainder, we're going to leave it in this Khan Academy exercise as 4x to the third, and we're going to leave it over x to the fourth. Now, again, with the last one, we could have plus 8x over x to the fourth. We could simplify that to 8 over x to the third, but because we want the remainder to have the same denominator, we're going to leave it as x to the fourth, and we're just going to leave it, oops, I need my pencil or pen. And we're going to put just plus 8x. So we're going to leave this intact for our remainder, okay? That's going to be right here. And then this part, b of x, that's x to the fourth, okay? So it's not asking for that b of x. It's just asking for the r of x, the remainder on top, okay? So we're going to go ahead and write 5x to the fifth minus 8x, 5x to the fifth minus 8x. That's our quotient, okay? That's the part that was evenly divisible. And then 4x cubed plus 8x. That's going to be your remainder. 4x cubed plus 8x. And that's going to be our answer. All right, next question. Let's see if we can do the next one a little bit quicker. All right, so now we have, let's go to our pen. We have x to the sixth, x to the ninth. So what I'm going to do here is I know I'm dividing all these by x to the sixth. So yeah, I'm taking shortcuts now. I'm going to just cancel one at a time. I'm going to cancel 6 of these with 6 of those, leaving me 3. Okay, I'm going to go to a new color. Let's go green. I'm going to cancel 6 of these with 6 of those x's, leaving me 2. Okay, now if there were a number out in front, I would have to cancel the numbers with each coefficient that came up. Okay, but since there's no number, no coefficient, I don't have to do that. Okay, but just keep in mind, you'd have to cancel that also. Let's move on to blue. So blue, we're going to cancel. Okay, notice how now we're at 3 and this is 6. Okay, so we could cancel that. 12x cubed over x to the 6. We could make that 12 over x cubed. But since that's going to be part of a remainder, we're just going to leave it over the original x to the 6. We're going to leave that over the original. So this minus 12, don't forget the sign, minus 12x cubed. And then the 60 can't be touched either. This is going to be our remainder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in as a remainder, negative 12x squared. Negative 12x squared, was that plus 60? Plus 60. Yes, okay. So now we have a remainder already done. What was our... Okay, we had 6x. Let me go up just a little bit more. I think that was... Okay, so we had 6x to the third. That's what I wrote here. Okay, 6x to the third. That was part of our quotient. 6x to the third. Okay, and then we had... What else do we have? 5x to the second. That's after we reduced it. Minus 5x to the second. And that's going to be our quotient. And the reason why it's our quotient is because we were able to completely cancel, no fractions left over. Okay, so that's our quotient. And then this part technically gets written, let me erase just some of this. This technically gets written over x to the 6th. That would be our remainder, okay, like that. So that's going to be our answer. Whoops, something happened. Did I forget a sign? 6x to the third, cancel that. 5x to the second minus 12. What did I write here? I accidentally wrote 12x squared instead of the third. I pressed the wrong button. 3. There we go. Sorry about that. Well, now you can see that it's simple to make mistakes, but you just got to be careful. Double check your answers. Make sure you're inputting them correctly. So we're going to have this over x to the fourth. Let's finish this one up. So we're going to have, for our first one, we're going to cancel this. For blue, we get x squared. Let's go to yellow. We're going to cancel this. For those, we're going to get minus 3x to the first, or just minus 3x. Ooh, we're actually going to get a x to the fourth divided by x to the fourth is going to give us 1. Okay, x to the fourth over x to the fourth, we get 1. That's where I'm getting that from. And notice how now we are getting to the part where the degree is smaller than the top. So this is going to be our remainder. So our quotient is going to be x squared minus 3x plus 1 because it was evenly divisible. X squared minus 3x plus 1. Was it plus 1? Yes, it was. Okay. And then our remainder is just going to be everything that's left over. That's x squared minus 3. X squared minus 3. And I think that's good. Okay. I think I'm just going to take a shot here. And we got it. Okay. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys to know how to divide polynomials by monomials with remainders. I'll see you next time on Wes Explains Best.